Ethereum, one of the most important assets in the crypto sector, and it's not far from losing its number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap. It doesn't have much left before it loses that dominance it's held for so many years. An asset that in the previous cycle was one of the most beloved by everyone precisely because it went up 25 times in value and was one of the most important during the last alt season is performing extremely poorly in this cycle. And what we're going to answer in this video is the following. Can Ethereum really lose its number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap? So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. And I'm telling you right now, but I don't want you to do it just yet. You've just received $10 if you're registered with my BitGet referral link to your BitGet account. Go to your rewards center, go to the coupons section inside the BitGet app, and claim them. We're going to use them tomorrow, Sunday, April 14th, 2025. We're going to use them live to multiply that money. I'll see you tomorrow. And if we go straight to CoinMarketCap, Ethereum's price is practically at $1,600, with a market cap of almost $200 billion, which puts it at the historic number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap. Since its all-time low, it's gone up a ton, but over the past year, as we can see here, it's dropped by 55%. In the last month, it has dropped 15%. In the last 7 days, it has fallen 12%. And yesterday, it went up by 2.3% because, honestly, it was about time. What we're going to do is compare the current market cap of Ethereum, which fortunately is still in the number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap, with the market cap of Tether, which is currently in the number 3 spot on CoinMarketCap, USDT, which currently has a market cap of 144 billion. And I want us to go straight to May 1st, 2016, when Ethereum took the number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap. Before that, it wasn't in the number 2 position on CoinMarketCap. We had XRP or Litecoin there, since Ethereum became popular a little later. The only time it lost, and only for about a week, that number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap was during the first week of January 2018, basically at the end of the previous cycle when XRP reached $3.37 with a market cap of $130 billion, temporarily surpassing Ethereum. But if we go just 1 week further, if we click here, we can see that Ethereum had already regained that number 2 position on CoinMarketCap. How does it look? If we overlay one chart with another, when it comes to market cap, Ethereum and USDT on the logarithmic scale, we can see that little by little, it's getting closer. Let's go from the beginning. The market cap of USDT is getting closer to the market cap of Ethereum. There has been some moments in history when it also seemed like it was going to happen, like in March 2020, which coincides exactly with the last pullback that cryptocurrencies had also during the pandemic at that time, and after that, cryptocurrencies started to pump quite a bit. That's when the gap widened a bit between Ethereum's market cap and USDT's market cap. The next time we saw Ethereum's market cap getting close to USDT's market cap, with Ethereum almost losing its number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap, although we have to keep in mind that USDT hasn't always been in the number 3 position on CoinMarketCap, was precisely in June 2022. That was exactly when the Terra Luna protocol collapsed, when the peg was lost and everything crashed. And there's a third time, because starting from 2022, from the end of 2022 when FTX collapsed, that closeness between Ethereum's market cap and USDT's market cap started to drift apart a bit. Until when? Until now. Until April 2025, when little by little, considering how USDT minting works and that Ethereum has dropped by 50% in just 1 year, and in this last month it has also fallen quite a bit, the market cap of USDT is once again getting closer to Ethereum's market cap. I want to remind you that we also have an active tournament on BitGet, and by the way, I'll be sending you some trades myself. You can find the link in the description of this video. Just complete the KYC, make a deposit, do a trade, fill out the form, and both my team and I will add you directly to our private trading group. We don't have much left. I think we're going to reach 10 million in volume, and if we do, the first place winner will get exactly $700. Second place gets 300, third place 200, fourth 100, and fifth 100. Just by reaching the minimum volume and ending up in profit, you currently be in first place Alright? In the first place, if we reach 10 million in volume, which I think we will, would get $700. $700 straight up. What I mean by this is that you're already in the tournament, you see there's not much left, and you're close to hitting that minimum volume and you're in profit, you can take a bit more risk, especially because the people who have already qualified are in the negative. You'd end up ahead of those people. Alright, so if we go straight to the monthly returns Ethereum has had, right now we're very close to experiencing the worst period in Ethereum's history. It's had some rough periods, like in 2022, or for example, at the end of 2018 and into 2019, but the moment we're living through right now, especially considering that Ethereum's market cap keeps growing, meaning there's more and more money in Ethereum. Right now, there isn't as much money as when it was at $4,000, precisely because the asset has pulled back quite a bit, but it's surprising to see that an asset that has made so much progress in the crypto sector is currently correcting so much. In fact, if we look directly at the Ethereum ETFs, we can see that since February 20th, 2025, money hasn't stopped flowing out of the Ethereum ETFs. Although we have to keep the following in mind, little by little, the amount of money leaving the Ethereum ETFs is decreasing. In fact, if we look directly at Grayscale, we can see that it has sold a total of $4.2 billion, and it was at the beginning when it was selling the most. Now, it's true that things have calmed down a bit, but retail investors are also selling Ethereum. But I want you to pay attention to the technical level, as you can see here. In fact, if we go directly to TradingView, in the previous cycle exactly this happened at a certain point, shoulder, head, shoulder, and from there, entry into the bear market. It was from that point that the Terra Luna protocol disappeared. From there, we reached November 2022, and that's when the crypto market started to recover. And it's just been a few weeks ago that it lost this ascending channel it had been in for a couple of years. That said, and we've mentioned this in recent videos, we'll leave this little box here, which it could touch at some point, that was about to break it, and the next level would be the $1,200 area. Personally, do I think Ethereum could reach $1,200? For this cycle, considering the bull run, I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so. Although we have to take more things into account, which I'll talk about during the video, but for me the most important one, in terms of RSI, on the weekly chart, it's at the same point as the drop we had in June 2022 on a weekly level. This is something very powerful. And if we go straight to the MACD, something very similar is happening. Personally, with Ethereum, taking into account what I'm also going to mention later in the video, I think we've already seen the worst. That doesn't mean it can't pull back a little more. A slight pullback doesn't mean it's going to drop to $1,000, $1,200, or $1,250. It could pull back to the 1,400 and something range, considering that Bitcoin's dominance keeps rising little by little. But I also want us to compare Ethereum to Bitcoin. And we can see that if we go straight to 2019, we're at the same point in the Ethereum versus Bitcoin comparison. And also, taking the RSI into account here, for example, the comparison of Bitcoin against Ethereum. I wouldn't count on it, but we have to keep this in mind because yes, Ethereum is in bad shape right now. It's really bad, actually, but it's not breaking the limits of being completely screwed. It's bad, but for now it's not breaking the limits of being completely screwed. If now, for example, instead of being here, which is where we are currently, we move to this part here and break downwards, we go to the 1200 something area and break downwards, taking into account that we're still in a bull cycle, then I would really start to worry. If, in the comparison of Ethereum against Bitcoin, this were to break and keep falling hard and we went straight to levels from 2016, then I would really be worried. For now, Ethereum is performing pretty badly, but it's not breaking the limits of what would make me say I really need to worry about Ethereum. In fact, I don't know if you know this, but by May 2025, in just a few weeks, a new update for Ethereum is coming out that's very important, which is the Petra update. Basically, it's going to improve the staking part and also optimize the fee system when it comes to charging fees within the Ethereum network. This can be seen in both a positive and a negative light, depending on whether the staking improvements are so attractive that people end up staking too much compared to the reduction in what will be earned from fees. As we can see over the past year, in terms of validator revenue, things have been getting considerably worse. In fact, if we look at the overall picture, we can see that it has dropped dramatically over the past few years, especially considering that in 2022 it switched from proof of work to proof of stake. We also have to take into account what's currently happening with World Liberty Finance, with Donald Trump, and everything going on behind that. They're saying that it's actually them who are selling part of the Ethereum, although later they've also come out to deny it, claiming that the wallets involved in Arkham Intelligence are not directly managed by them. I also want you to keep in mind the dominance of USDT, USDC, and Bitcoin. If we go directly to December 21st, 2020, which is when the dominance started to drop, we're currently at the same point and, for now, on a weekly level, it's pulling back a little. It's not able to break through this ceiling, this resistance, compared to the previous cycle we had around the 70-something% area. We have to keep in mind that in terms of dominance, the vast majority of the money currently in cryptocurrencies is in Bitcoin and stablecoins. Right now, there's very little money in Ethereum, Polkadot, Cardano, Hedera, XRP compared to the previous cycle, even though things would have gone really, really well if we had had a season. XRP, instead of reaching 3-something dollars, probably would have reached $5 or $6. But we have to keep this in mind, and again, none of the most important indicators compared to previous times are breaking yet, so there's no need to worry about Ethereum for now. If suddenly this now reaches 80, 85%, and we get to this part over here, to this part here, then I would start to worry. At that point, I'd be quite worried. For now, honestly, I'm not worried about what's happening with Ethereum or with the rest of the altcoins. If now, all of a sudden, we keep going up and reach 75, 76, 77%, then I really would start to worry. Just like we mentioned here, it's the same as what we talked about here. Also, by the way, some of you have told me, Johnny, I'd like to be in videos about what's happening that have KYC. I completely understand if maybe you don't want to go through KYC, and what I've done is contact Margex directly, which I've mentioned to you a few times here on the channel, and we're going to start a trading tournament that lasts until May 10th. If you've seen the latest videos Alvar has uploaded, the tournament is exactly the same. There will be a prize pool of $1,000, with the first place taking 25%, the second place 20%, the third place 15%, and then 10 traders will get the remaining 20%, which will be distributed randomly. Like I said, for every million in trading volume generated, another $100 will be added to this pool, okay? And these are literally withdrawable dollars. The first place winner will take 25%, which I estimate will end up being around $250, more or less. I'll also be participating, and will be providing updates on this tournament. So, through the description of this video, this is on Margex. It's a referral link directly from Margex, and as soon as you sign up, there's no KYC, you can start trading, and we'll also keep you updated over the coming days on how we're doing in this tournament. In fact, a few days ago I uploaded a video talking to you about, in my opinion, where we currently are in the cycle, whether it was already a bear market, or if we were heading straight into a bear market. And I made my position very clear by saying no, that in my view we were not going into a bear market. For now, the market is going up a little bit. That doesn't mean we can't drop back to that $72,000 area temporarily, but it's true that we've already had a big drop and we also need to have a pullback to the upside, even if we might keep falling afterwards. I think pretty much the same with Ethereum. For me, with Ethereum, if I draw a Fibonacci retracement from up here, after the whole drop we've had, we could easily go up to the 0.5 Fibonacci level, which is around here. This area here, or even directly, if the market manages to recover a bit, we could go straight to this area here, but not because Ethereum is suddenly going to explode. No, it's because, logically, so much Ethereum has already been sold that now what needs to happen is to reverse that movement, to do the opposite of what most people think. Right now, the Ethereum token, Ethereum's cryptocurrency, is in extreme fear, just like the rest of the crypto market, but Ethereum is experiencing even more extreme fear than the other cryptocurrencies. That's exactly why it wouldn't surprise me if we now see an upward pullback to liquidate all those people who are currently betting on shorts. And this is what I mean when I say that in the previous cycle, Ethereum did a 25x. It was one of the cryptocurrencies with the best risk-reward performance in the entire crypto space. In fact, if we go directly to market cap compare and put Ethereum on the left side and Ethereum on the right side, and select Ethereum ABH, we can see that currently, if Ethereum were to reach the market cap it had at its all-time high, it would reach $4,735, basically making almost a 3x. In any case, and this is not investment advice or anything of the sort, if you have to accumulate any asset, I believe, personally, that right now there isn't anything better in terms of risk reward. And if you think there is something better in terms of risk reward, it's precisely because of the extreme fear present in the market. But we have to see opportunities when everyone else, when the 90% of people who lose money in cryptocurrencies don't see those opportunities. And currently, out of the top 100 on CoinMarketCap, there isn't an asset that's more profitable in terms of risk reward, pardon the redundancy, than Ethereum. And again, this doesn't mean it can't keep dropping, that it might fall a little more or a little less. And I repeat, in terms of risk reward, for me, right now there is no investment more profitable than what Ethereum is at the moment. That doesn't mean you shouldn't diversify. Obviously, you have to diversify, especially considering how the market is right now. Diversifying doesn't mean having 100 cryptocurrencies or 200 cryptocurrencies. No, it means having just enough cryptocurrencies so that by spending a little time on them each day, you know exactly what's happening with each one. Starting, obviously, by having a large part of your portfolio. I'm not going to say 80, 70, or 90%, but do make sure you have a good portion of your portfolio in Bitcoin. Always keep a good portion in Bitcoin. Why? Because you never know what's going to happen. Now, in this video, I'm telling you that, for me, Ethereum could go up to 2,000 and something, maybe $3,000, or it could drop as low as around $1,400. But the thing is, nobody has a crystal ball. Tomorrow, Ethereum could drop to $150 or literally shoot up to 500. Nobody really knows. What we do know is that the most important asset we have in cryptocurrencies is Bitcoin. And if you want to be invested in this sector, Bitcoin is the most important one you need to have. And from there, we can look at everything else. But please, guys, always manage your risk, especially now, especially at times like these when nerves and emotions are running high because of the current state of the market. Finally, answering the question, can Ethereum lose its number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap and be overtaken by USDT? Well, in the short term or temporarily, I think it could happen precisely because USDT, the way Tether is minted, it's the company itself that mints it, right? As you know, it's backed by US bonds and so on. So, in the short term, considering that even today a billion USDT have been minted, in the short to medium term, I do think that USDT could temporarily surpass Ethereum and that, after 8 years, Ethereum could lose its number 2 spot on CoinMarketCap. That doesn't mean that in the medium to long term I don't see Ethereum reclaiming its number 2 position on CoinMarketCap. I think it would get it back, and in fact, I believe it would perform better than many of us expect. So guys, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think about what I've discussed in this video. Do you think Ethereum could lose that number 2 spot? Do you think that if it does lose it, it could recover and reclaim that number 2 position on CoinMarketCap? Let me know in the comments because I'll be reading them. Thank you for all the supportive comments. See you next time.